Hey, what's up guys? My name's Chris Winter and today I've got my hands on both the Canon T6i and the T6s and I'm going to go over each button on the camera so you can understand which ones they are and how you should use them. Now this might be a little bit basic if you've used a DSLR before, but if you haven't, I know it can be a little bit daunting with all these buttons and you're wondering how to use them. So we'll go over them and kind of just figure out which ones you should be using and why. And guys, if you don't have a Canon T6i or a T6s yet, don't worry, I'm actually going to be giving one away to a subscriber to celebrate 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So all you need to do to enter is make sure to hit that subscribe button. But anyway, let's take a look at a few of these buttons and see what they do. So I'm going to try not to make this video too long, but as you can see, I've got the Canon T6s here. I'm going to use the T6s because the T6i has some very similar features, but the T6s has a few new ones which I might be able to point out. So if you want to turn the camera on, all you need to do is click the on switch up here, and you'll see that something will come up on the back LCD. Now if you ever want to get into video mode, you need to just flick it over to the right, and now you'll be able to shoot in video mode, and as you can see on the back of your screen right here, you're able to actually see what's being filmed. But for right now, we're going to go jump back into stills mode, click back to the on button. So the very first button that we're going to have a look at is the menu button. So the menu button right here displays pretty much all the settings that you can change on your camera. So there's lots of different things that you can really change here. You can change the image quality, you can change whether or not you're going to have a beep on your camera. So essentially this is a beep, and without it, you go like this and disable it. I quite like having a beep so you know whether or not you're actually pressing something. There's lots of different settings that you can change. You can change the picture style so you can see how saturated it's going to be, or if you want it in black and white, you can go there. And then of course you can do other things like format your camera, which essentially means deleting all the photos of it. So that was the menu button. The next button that we're going to have, I'll just jump over to video mode for this, is the info button. Now if you click the info button, you can see that one thing just came up, and this was a level. So essentially what this means is that when it's green, right there, that means that it's going to be a very horizontal shot. If you go like this, you can see that it's going to be wonky. Now that's not the only thing that the info button does. If you click info again, you can see that pretty much everything's gone off your screen. If we hit it again, a few more things have come up on the screen. We hit it again, lots of things have come up on the screen. So essentially the info button is giving you as much information as you want or as little information as you want. So the next button we have across here, again when you're in video mode, is the record button. So it's simple as this, press the record button, and as you can see, a little red light here will come up and you're pretty much recording. You can also see right here that something's being recorded to this SD card with this red light here. So to stop that again, you press the record button. Hey guys, as always, if you're enjoying this video, I'd love it if you leave a thumbs up because that's always appreciated. But anyway, let's get on to the next part of the video. So on the T6s and the T6i, we have a really nice feature, and that's the touchscreen. So there's lots of things that you can do. Obviously on a touchscreen, what I'll do is I'll zoom out here. On a touchscreen, you can actually select where you want it to focus. Wherever you touch on the screen, it's going to focus. So if I want to touch, focus on this Practica logo here, you can see that I just have to touch on that. If I want to focus on something behind it, you just go like that and it's going to focus. Another thing you can do is actually use the touchscreen to change your settings. So what you want to do is hit the Q button up here. And here we now have all these different options that you can change. For instance, we can choose how we want to have the autofocus done, face tracking, or we can have it in spot focus mode. We can choose the drive mode that you want to have it in, which means essentially whether or not you want it to take one shot if you hold it down or many shots at once, or even you can have it as a timer. You can choose the movie recording size, whether or not you want it in full HD, whether or not you want it to have a high bit rate, so it's going to be very clean, or if you want to save some space, you can do it into a lower bit rate. Next up, we have digital zoom, and this is only on the Canon T6s, but essentially what it does is crops it into 3 times, which means it's going to be a very clean crop, and it's giving you 3 times the zoom range. Once you go to up to 10%, 10 times zoom, it does get a little bit noisy and it's not so nice, but if you do keep it on around about 3 times, it can be really quite good for video. Next up, we've got a video snapshot. I wouldn't really be using this that much. It's essentially going to cut up your videos for you so you can have a neat little clip, but I don't use that much. You can also change your white balance. You can change your picture style, so if you want to have something in black and white, if you want to have something that's desaturated or very saturated, want to adjust your contrast, you can change it there. Oop. Then we've got the auto lighting optimizer. Essentially this is going to bump up your light but in not really a natural way. Generally, I have this turned off. And then we've got the miniature movie effect. This is something new, again, on these cameras. As you can see right here, what it does, essentially, it kind of blurs out the top and the bottom of your screen, and then everything looks like it's miniature. Again, it's a bit of a gimmick, but you know, it's nice to have on there. So if you come along here, you can see that we've got this Q button. As you remember, we actually touched the Q button before on the touch screen. We actually have a physical button as well. So essentially what this does, it allows you to change your settings. So again, it's just going to do exactly the same. It'll allow us to change all these different settings, and it's pretty much a good button to learn. The next button is a play button. And what this one does is your playback. So essentially it means that you can now look at all the photos and videos that you've taken. If you want to jump through them, you can hit these buttons here or spin this one here on the T6s. So it's a good way to check if the photo that you've taken was good or not. So as you saw before, we just took this video, press play, and there you go. Another button that you'll probably use quite often is the delete button, and it's down here at the bottom. And essentially, if you want to delete a clip, all you need to do is hit the delete button, confirm it, and then once you've hit erase, it'll be gone. So make sure you're sure about it before you want to delete it, but if you want to do it, just hit the set button, and there it's gone. So it's deleted. Make sure you want to do it first. Next up, we have this control dial, and this control dial is something that's only on the Canon T6s. It's not on the Canon T6i. It has trickled down from more professional bodies, and it's something that's quite useful to use. So essentially, if you want to jump through your photos, rather than clicking on it, you just have to spin it around, and it's going to jump through them. So it's really quite useful. I don't particularly love them so much because I find them a little bit clunky if I want to get through it quite quickly, but you know, it's quite good to have there. So if we jump back into stills mode, what you can do is actually press one of these buttons, like say at the top here, on the right, down the bottom, or on the left, and adjust different settings. As you can see, this one here says white balance. We're in white balance mode now, and we can adjust that. If we want to change our autofocus, you can change it to one shot, AI focus, or AI servo. You can change your picture style, or if you want to change the drive mode. So essentially all of these are just little shortcuts to a few of the things that we're going to be using quite often. So these are quite useful. If you want to quickly jump into your white balance, all you need to do is hit that one rather than going through the queue system. So the other day I got asked what this little lock switch is right here. So essentially what it is once you click the lock button, you're not going to be able to move any of these different settings right here. So essentially if you want to know that you're going to be on a certain shutter speed or you want to stay in a certain aperture, you just click the lock switch, and then this little control dial essentially doesn't work. So once you go back, it's going to be working. It's a nice feature to have. So if we move up the top here, you can see that we have magnification buttons. So these can be really useful if you're trying to check your focus. So right now we're in video mode, and a lot of people use manual focus for video mode. So what I'm going to do is hit the magnification button again. As you can see, we now have a 5x crop of this, and we can see just if we're in focus. I can see that this is in focus right here. But if we want to go to 10 times, you hit it again, and you can see that you can really make sure you're in focus. That's in focus right there, which is really good. If we want to jump back again, you hit it again, and now we're completely in focus, and we're ready to record. Now, if we want to hit the playback button, say you've taken a photo before, you can actually use the zoom in function to see just how nice your shot is, whether or not it's in focus, whether or not it's sharp. You can zoom back out, or you can zoom back in. It's a really useful function to have, something that I really do like. So if we move up to the top of the camera, you can see right here that we have the autofocus selection. You can choose essentially which points you want to be in focus. You can have an auto selection, or you can have a manual select, but only a zone autofocus. So this can be really useful if you want to say focus up here, or if you want the camera to do it all pretty much all for you using that 19-point autofocus. Another button that's widely used by many photographers is the ISO button. So here you can get quick access to change your ISO. If you want a really clean image and you've got like a bright day, it's fine to be using the 100 ISO. But say if you're in a really dark area, you can be choosing something like 6400 or 12800 ISO. Essentially what this is going to do, if you don't know much about photography, is artificially increase the amount of light that's in your shot. So if you've got a really dark room or something and you want to be able to build it up so you can see what's in there, you can click the ISO button. The other button up here that wouldn't be on the Canon T6i is a little light button. Essentially what this does is use a LED light to brighten up this little top LED display right here, LCD display right here. Does it for a few seconds, and as you can see, there are a few other different things that you can change right here. There you go, guys. That was my quick tour of all the buttons on the Canon T6s and T6i. I know it was a long video, but I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done it yet, make sure to subscribe because I'm going to be doing plenty more tutorials on the T6s and T6i. Hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.